The obvious question is, why is a bald-head black man talking about women's hair on a podcast? Well, this is Beyond the Reps, and we talk about all things related to fitness outside of the gym, all the things that can impact your performance apart from the actual weight training, cardio, flexibility movements. And as trainers, 90% of the fitness industry is comprised of male trainers. On the other hand, most of the clients in the fitness industry overwhelmingly are female. So we get questions all the time. We have to answer questions about periods. We have to answer questions about all sorts of things. And one of the things that comes up occasionally is, how do we exercise with these hairstyles? I can't go any water if I rock up because I can mash up my hair, et cetera, et cetera. So today, I thought we would start to have this conversation a little bit more because a lot of the male trailers are struggling. And there's even women out there who are refusing to exercise because they don't want to
Mess
damage
up the
their hair or
hairstyle.
mess up their hairstyle. So I have with me today another friend of mine. I would consider her a friend, but she might say otherwise. We've known each other for a long time. I've even trained her for a little bit. This is Karen Allen. Karen Allen is the owner of Unweley Hair Care, and Unweley Hair Care is a
Online,
online
natural hair
natural
care.
hair
Mhm.
retailer. So
Yes.
welcome to the show, Karen.
Thank you very much, George.
And
Great to see you.
how are you doing?
I am well,
I
thanks.
like the outfit.
Thank you. Ditto. Yes,
Very
all
much on
black.
brand.
Very much on brand as well.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, this conversation is, again, when I do this show, I want to everybody's talking about creatine, everybody's talking about how much sleep we should get. But there's some topics out there that impact on fitness, wellness, and performance that very few persons are talking about.
Yes.
And obviously we live in Barbados, 93 or 95% black. And lots of people have this natural hair now. It's much more common than before for women
Hmm.
to have
Hmm.
natural hair. So we want to open up the conversation to give people some practical advice about how they manage their hair with respect to fitness, performance, and sport. So
Okay.
I'll let you kick it off, and we can keep moving from there.
Okay. So first of all, with regard to the fitness, actually being available to go to the gym. One of the things that we find is that a lot of people, dependent on their hairstyle,
Mhm.
will take a little break from the gym. I just
Right.
got my hair done.
Right.
I don't want to mess it up. I have an occasion that I need to look good for. I don't want to go to the gym. And so, one of the things that can really deter a person's fitness goals
Mhm.
is their hairstyle. They're not sure what to do with their hair, especially if they exercise a lot. I'm a copious sweater. I will raise my hand for that, and it caused a real problem when I first went natural. How do I keep my hair cleansed? How do I keep my hair looking the way I want it to look and still be able to get the cardio, both the cardio and the curls? You want the best of both worlds.
Okay.
And it is possible. It is
Mhm.
possible, but it's a very strategic act on the part of the user. So you don't have to delay going to the gym. There are things that you can do in a very practical way to keep your hair healthy
Mhm.
as well as your body healthy.
Okay, so top three tips to
Okay.
a woman out there who is in exactly that same position.
Mhm.
She works out hard, so she's sweating all the time. Does she want to wash her hair every time she works out? Probably not.
Definitely not.
Top three tips to that lady.
One, leave-in conditioner. Make leave-in conditioner your friend. You're going to go into a sweat session, you're going to have salt in your hair, and it's not just the damaging of the hairstyle. It is the salt in your hair that you really want to counteract because the salt is going to absorb the water in your hair, which is a hydration. And
Mhm.
then when it evaporates, you're going to be left with the salt in your hair, which can be damaging to your hair cuticle. So you want to make sure that you remove that salt as quickly as possible. And it's amazing. You go to the gym and you come back and you wash your face, you cleanse your whole body, but your scalp doesn't get cleansed for days, sometimes weeks.
Right.
And that salt just sits on your scalp and it can cause damage. So you really want to make sure that you cleanse it. One of the things that we recommend is a co-wash. If you're doing physical activity, intense physical activity, or you sweat a lot during the week, let's say Monday to Wednesday, you go to the gym, Monday to Friday, so you go to the gym. That Wednesday, that midweek point, when you've had quite a few sweat accumulations in your hair,
Mhm.
you do a co-wash, what is called a co-wash, which is a little bit more gentle than a wash. And that means you don't have to do a wash and condition.
Right.
You just do the co-wash, and that is midweek to take you then to the end of the week, where you would then do your normal wash day routine, which has to include a deep conditioner. So if you're exercising, now is not the time to skip the deep conditioner because you don't have time to do it.
Right.
You wash your hair, the shampoo opens the cuticles. You need to close the cuticles of your hair with a deep conditioner.
Okay. So one of the things I want to pick up
Mhm.
on is that you said that the salt on the scalp, the accumulation of the salt on the scalp can cause damage.
It can cause damage. One of the things that you find if you exercise a lot, it's not just the sweat that you have on your hair, which is a salt. You have debris on your hair. You have the oil accumulation from the follicles, the sebum on your hair. You can also have product buildup on your hair. If you don't cleanse your hair regularly, you can get inflammation of the follicles,
Wow.
something called folliculitis. Another problem is yeast,
Okay.
a yeast called malassezia, which is naturally occurring in the skin, but it loves damp, dark, wet conditions.
Right.
And when you're exercising, your hair is up in a ponytail and you keep that ponytail until the next day, until the next day, until the next day. You take it out and you realize that your hair has a scent. It has a smell that's unpleasant. That's the yeast in your hair. You want to make sure that you cleanse that as well.
Okay. So, obviously, if somebody sits down for 6 to 8 hours in a
Mhm.
chair getting their hair braided, whether it's natural braids or they have some sort of
Synthetic.
synthetic hair
Mhm.
added to it, they're not able, I'm guessing, to get that deep co-wash twice a
They
week.
definitely are. They
Yeah. Okay.
definitely are. Yes. Protective styles do not postpone
Okay.
hair care. Your hair is still under there. So you need to make sure that you're taking care of your hair regardless of the style.
Right.
And there are brands, of course, these brands can be found at Unwelly Hair Care,
Of
but
course.
there are brands that we carry that allow you to get to the scalp. So
Okay.
you can agitate and manipulate the scalp without interfering too much with your hairstyle. But when your hair is in protective styles, you want to maintain the same wash day routine
Mm.
which should have been every 7 to 10 days previously. So every 7 to 10 days, you want to cleanse your hair, your scalp, condition your hair, not your scalp,
Right.
and then you go again for the next 7 to 10 days.
Okay. Well, see, I've already learned something.
Mhm. Thank you.
Um, Now let's look at the whole lifestyle, fitness, wellness
Mhm.
perspective and the impact that that may have on hair growth.
Mhm.
Is there anything out there, any evidence out there to say that if I maintain a healthy lifestyle and I exercise and keep fit, that I'm going to have better hair or better
Mm.
quality hair?
Firstly, quality hair. No.
For me, for me,
Yeah.
for me. So whether
Yeah.
when I say what I mean by quality,
Yeah.
I mean that my own hair
Will be
isn't
healthier.
thinning, will be healthier because
Exactly.
I don't subscribe to
Exactly.
that good hair thing.
Thank you. Thank you. All hair is good hair.
All hair is good hair, correct?
Yes, definitely.
Mhm.
The healthier you are, the more you exercise, the more your blood is flowing through your veins, the more the oxygenated blood is getting to your follicles. And the hair grows where the blood flows.
Right.
So when you have that hair growing from your head is healthier because I hope you're eating better. So your diet has all of the folic acid that it needs. You have all of the vitamin D, all of the nutrients that you need to be getting. And that helps promote hair growth. So a lot of people think that you can get hair growth from a bottle, you can get it from a pill. But no, hair growth is internal. You have to be drinking your water, which if you're exercising a lot, you probably are. You have to be moving your body and you have to be eating the right things. And that's really where hair growth stems from.
The hair goes where the blood flows. I like that. Okay, I want to change track a little bit here.
Okay.
I want to talk a little bit about female athletes. Let's talk
Mhm.
about athletes in particular because
Mhm.
a lot of men now are moving along the braids and for a while,
Mhm.
and we've had some instances in the past where athletes haven't been able to compete because they have the natural hairstyles. You mentioned one before the show, the one with the swimmer.
Mhm.
Talk about that for a little bit and tell us, kind of the journey that many elite athletes have had to go through to pave the way for athletes nowadays,
Mhm.
and how you see that developing.
Well, there is a reason that you see a lot of athletes with protective styles. Not only is it easier to maintain, especially if you have a schedule that is very taxing, you need time in order to maintain your hair. So definitely, it's a good option to go into protective style if you don't have that time to dedicate to it. But yes, in the past, and we're seeing it more and more again. We're hearing of there was, for example, in 2020 a student, a wrestling student, I think he was in Virginia, a high school student, that had to cut his locks mid-game. They
I know,
stopped the
I
wrestling
remember
match,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
had to cut his locks because it didn't fit into the standard.
right.
So what is happening now we find is that there is a policing and there is a decided linkage between the word policy and police.
Mhm.
And there is a policing now that is happening of natural hair. It has been happening for years, but it's becoming a little bit more prevalent now with rules and regulations.
Right.
So you have clubs with certain club standards. And one of them is, neatness and professionalism.
Right.
All of these catchphrases that mean that you need to look a certain way, which does not necessarily fit into how natural hair behaves.
Right.
Natural hair is by definition curly or coily. It's not going to be you pull it back and it stays back. It likes to
Yeah.
to meet the environment in different points of the hairstyle.
Right.
So you're forcing persons to either make a decision that they are going to have to spend a lot of time trying to manipulate their hair,
Mhm.
which takes away from the time that they can be spent dedicated to the performance
Right.
and the training that they need to do in order to excel in their craft. Or you're going to force them to make a decision that they probably will not want to make.
Right.
And we call that code switching. Thank
Code
you.
switching. Yeah.
Code
Yeah.
switching. So they have to fit into the parameters that society allows them to play within.
Mhm.
So they have to code switch, but there have been studies that show that athletes that are able to show up as their true authentic self
Mhm.
perform better.
Right.
They're less stressed, they're able to dedicate more time to the execution of their craft,
Right.
as opposed to those that have to code switch and they are usually more stressed because then they have to self-monitor.
Right.
Do I look correct? Am I looking the correct way? Is this going to meet the regulation? Is this going to meet the standard? So it does have an impact, not an impact necessarily on how well you physically perform, but your ability to perform.
Right. So, uh, where do you think this gatekeeping came from? Because that's basically what it is. It's the people gatekeeping the sport. Do you think that this is a concerted effort historically by the people who run the sports to keep certain people out?
I think that there are fiefdoms
Right.
that there are in sports, and every now and again you have a rule breaker that changes it, and generally a policy comes immediately after that rule breaker. We were speaking about Allen Iverson
Uh,
before and how he revolutionized cornrows in the NBA. I mean, even sitting at the sidelines, I remember watching with his mother or his aunt braiding his hair,
right.
which was probably not necessary to have your hair rebraided mid-game, but it,
Right.
it was a good visual. We spoke about the Williams sisters and how they revolutionized, but for every revolutionary,
Level. Yeah. You know.
every person
Yeah.
that revolutionized the game,
Uh-huh.
we have been quickly followed by new policies
Right.
to ensure that there will be no one following after them
Right.
that will take those types of allowances.
Right. Okay.
And to answer your question, is it something new? No, no. Policing, we went to school.
Yeah.
Policing of the hair has been something that happens all through the life. So it's always under the guise of professionalism
Mhm.
or being neat and tidy.
Right.
So if your hair is not fully brushed and back and worn with no strands sticking out, then it is neat and tidy. So we're really forcing persons to, and then no braids, you can't wear the braids.
Right.
So we are forcing persons into this little pigeonhole for
Mhm.
them to force their hair to behave like it wouldn't behave. So we have parents calling and they have processed their children's hair, some of them as young as 8, 9 years old,
Mhm.
because one, we really haven't been taught how to care for our hair.
Right.
So we have things like good hair.
Right.
Your hair is hard.
Right.
There's no such thing as hard hair.
I would probably beg
Beg to differ?
'cause
No, no,
there
there's
was
no
no
such
hair
thing.
of mine when I was growing up.
Hard hair is hair that requires moisture.
Right.
If you have a good wash day routine when you're replenishing your hair with both hydration and moisture on a regular basis,
Which I was not doing.
before it gets an opportunity for the water to evaporate, because that's when your hair becomes hard. It becomes dry because the water is evaporating from your hair. So if you spend too long between wash days,
Right.
if your wash day cycle is, you see the, yeah,
Right,
I
right,
wash
right.
my
Don't
hair.
do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, sorry.
That
Yeah.
I have seen people out at a restaurant with a fork, no less.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
Well, that could be for a few reasons. One, if
wanted
you
to
have
eat hair?
synthetic, no.
Okay.
If you have synthetic hair,
Right.
some of them are coated with chemicals that can be irritating to the scalp. So there is that, which is legitimate, and that can be countered very easily by just washing the braids before you put them in. So you can use apple cider vinegar rinse, or of course,
Okay.
we have a rinse as well
Of course.
that you can, yes, that you can wash your braids in before you install them to make sure that you don't get that contact dermatitis issue.
Right.
But yes, we do have, and we grew up hearing that, your hair likes oil, your scalp likes oil. So oil your scalp, your hair is
Mhm.
dry, oil your scalp. You have problems in life, oil your scalp.
Right.
But what the oil is really doing is trapping that yeast
Right.
and helping it to grow.
That's
So
the
that's
dirt
when
and
you get
bacteria.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's when you get the itching because you're actually coating and preventing the air from getting into your scalp and preventing the water from actually touching your scalp. So you need to cleanse your hair and your scalp regularly, and that will solve a lot of the problems.
Okay. I think if we were to end the show here, it would already be a wealth of information for most people. But I want to talk now about whether having a particular hairstyle or a certain amount of hair, how that could potentially negatively impact on your performance, if at all. And if for example, I had, you see, I live in St. John, so I pass by the springs every day, and we have some Rastafarians that have had never cut their locks. So let's talk about a person with a lot of massive amount of hair on their head, or a particular style, and how that can potentially negatively impact their sport, and how we would manage it if you had to give them some advice.
First of all, congratulations for having that fantastic amount of hair. Many
Mhm.
people will want to be in your shoes.
Right,
I don't think that the hair will have a direct impact on your ability to physically perform.
right,
Where it does become a challenge is, and I don't like to use the word control, but how to style it in such a way that you can perform the task without being encumbered by what is on your head.
right,
And that's where the protective styles come in. That's where putting, if it's big enough that you can put it back in one, that's where that comes in. There are a lot of styles that you can easily do that can help to get your hair out of your face, out of your way,
mhm.
and allow you to engage in life.
Okay, so we've been focusing on women, but obviously
Women and men.
in today's
Yeah.
world, a lot of men have moved towards the natural hairstyles as well,
Mhm.
and the kind of culture at the time and the kind of trend right now is for men to have the braids and so
Mhm.
on as well.
Cornrows, locks.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So is the advice for men different to women,
No,
or is
no,
everything the
no.
same
Everything is the same.
chronologically and everything?
Everything is the same in terms of hair care. So men have to shampoo their hair just as often as women have to shampoo their hair. They have to deep condition
Right.
their hair as well. Many of our male clients, and nah, I don't do the deep conditioning thing. I
Right.
wash and I get out the door.
Right.
No, you need to deep condition your hair as well because when you shampoo your hair, what the shampoo does is actually lifts the cuticle.
Okay.
And if you leave your cuticle lifted, then it's prone to damage. Think of it. It's actually like this. And if it lifts, then it's more prone to damage, more prone to snagging, more prone to breaking. So
Right.
you need the conditioner to close the hair cuticle flat as well
Right.
and allow then the moisture to be retained in your hair rather than escaping in the environment. So your hair will remain moisturized for longer if you use a deep conditioner.
Okay. And more general advice now.
Mhm.
Is there anything that you would I mean, people say, there's no definites. There's no hard yeses or nos. But if you could come up with a hard no on things to do to your hair, apart from oiling your scalp,
Mhm.
could you give me a couple of those?
Rather than giving you a no, I will give you some yeses.
Okay, that's even
Okay.
better.
Some yeses for things that you can do to your hair and your scalp. One, scalp massage.
Okay.
Absolutely fantastic for both your stress level and your scalp health.
Huh?
Make sure that you get in there and massage those follicles. Number two, regular washing.
Right.
Regular shampooing and using a conditioner after you shampoo. It does wonders for your hair. If you do that weekly, you will find that your hair reacts and responds differently, sorry, to styles and to products. Number three, trimming your hair,
Okay.
making sure that you're cutting those split ends so that your hair remains healthy. And number four, installing styles that you can maintain that suit your lifestyle and that allow you to continue to care for your hair and your scalp. So installing styles and then saying, I haven't been able to wash my hair for 3 months, but the hair looks good.
Right.
When you take it off, it's gonna be a surprise that you don't want.
Right.
So installing hairstyles that allow you to live your life because you don't want your hair to control or inhibit your life. So installing hairstyles that allow you to live your life to the fullest extent,
Mhm.
but also allow you to have a healthy hair, sorry.
Good advice. Good advice. Is there anything you want to add that we might have missed in the conversation? I think we touched on quite a few
I
things,
think we
but
touched on quite a few things, but just to really reiterate how important scalp health is.
Mhm.
The health of your hair is going to be determined largely by the health of your scalp,
Right.
and the fact that there is no one thing
Mhm.
that you can do to get the healthy hair. So it has to be a combination of things, and most of it is to do with your general body health.
Right.
So doing things like drinking water, exercising, the scalp massage is one cheat that you can really do. And if you have any clients that are over 40,
Mhm.
heading towards perimenopause,
Oh boy.
who It's a benefit to get there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
No, I have
yeah, but
almost
oh
all of my
boy.
clients
Yeah,
is in
but
that
oh boy,
demographic right
yeah.
now. Yeah.
Then you're going to recognize that your hair might be thinning.
Hmm.
You might have hair falling out in some areas. It's going to look differently. It may look differently, but it's no cause for concern once you understand what's going on. It's the chemicals, it's the hormones in your body just responding a certain way. And there are things that you can do to counter it. Make sure that, you get the palmetto. Massage is a fantastic way to stimulate the follicles and make sure that you get that growth in your hair. Make sure that you're consuming large amounts of water.
Right.
Get that water in, and your hair will remain hydrated. One of the most complaints that we get for natural hair is that their natural hair is dry. My natural hair is dry.
Right.
So I say two things to that. How do you know your natural hair is dry? If you are comparing how your hair should look
Hmm.
to how somebody else's hair looks,
Right.
then yes, it may not have that shine because our hair has coils. It has coils and kinks. So every bend of our hair reflects light.
Right.
So it's not going to be a smooth surface area that would
Ah,
allow it to shine.
got
It doesn't mean that it's not
it.
healthy.
Right.
It doesn't mean that it's dry. So go more based on feel, how
Mhm.
the hair feels rather than how you think it looks. And two reasons that the hair is dry: one, your consumption of water. Are you drinking enough water?
Mhm.
And are you shampooing regularly enough?
Okay.
And it seems counterproductive that most people think are counterintuitive, that they think that you have to wash their hair in order for it to retain moisture.
Right.
But when you shampoo your hair, that is a single event that introduces the highest level of water into your hair.
Right.
So you need to be doing it regularly enough that you do not allow your hair to be completely evaporated of water before the next
Before it
time.
happens again.
Exactly, before the next wash season.
Okay. So tell the people out there how they can find you and your products, Karen, because we want to say really thank you. So I want to give you this opportunity to, reach out to my huge audience and let them know where they can find you.
We are an online company. We sell natural hair care products. All of our products are black manufactured,
Mhm.
for us by us.
Right.
Yes, and they cater to natural hair, but it's really for any type of hair. And we try to sell accessories as well. So it's not just about selling the products. We try to make your natural hair care journey, sorry, easier. So we sell the products and the accessories that will help your hair to get healthy. And the days that you don't want to necessarily show your hair, we have the accessories that you can cover it up and still look cute and still be able to go along your day. And they can find us online at Unwele Hair Care, UNWELE. Can't see it on the shirt, hair care, .com, or follow us on Instagram or Facebook at the same handle, Unwele Hair Care.
Right. You have anything for me?
Love and respect.
Love and thank you very much. My name is George Griffith. This is has been Beyond the Reps, and we'd like to thank Karen Allen for coming in today and giving us a very insightful and informative talk on what we can do about having your natural hairstyles when it comes to fitness, health, and performance.